Well, I guess the first thing I want to say is Happy New Year to everybody. Today is January 2nd. It feels like January 1st, so January 2nd. You know, New Year's come on Sunday. It kind of confuses everybody, you know. I even seen the school crossing guard out the day. I said, well, what is he out here for, you know? But some people go back to school quicker than others. Today, again, let me introduce myself. I'm the American Reverend Zachariah A. Jackson from the Church of What's Happening Now, Town Talker Public. Today, the Town Talker Public, this is the first, well, not the first recording of the year because I did one downtown Plainfield yesterday, but this is the first real show for Plainfield, New Jersey. We're going to be interviewing Casey Bell. He wrote a book called Moving Forward, the number forward, leaving my past behind. In memoir, it's memoir, right? Memoir by Casey Bell. Casey, introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, my name is Casey Bell. I was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey. I was raised in Oak Ridge, New Jersey. Now I live South Jersey on the Jersey Shore. As of now, I work in Lakewood, New Jersey at the Historic Strand Theater. And I think that's it.
Casey, you have a book.
Yes.
This book that you've written is Leaving My Past Behind. Can you kind of elaborate on what the book is all about?
It's an autobiography about me. It begins at the age of 4. That's why I put the number 4 in the word forward. And it talks about the beginning of me being molested at the age of 4. And I go through, it's an autobiography specifically on me being molested and the issues that became of it and the things that came from being molested in my life and the trials and tribulations. And I wrote the book simply because for me it was the best way to expose everything I was hiding. I knew at some point I would have to let it all go. And this was the best way that I knew that I could basically tell it all.
Casey, you talk about being molested at age 4. Right. And the young man that molested you at the age 4 was how old?
He was 5 years older than me.
At that stage in life, is it honest? I guess, for lack of a better word, is it honest to call that being molested?
Well, I didn't see it as that. I would say the only reason why I would say that is because most people who do sexual activity at young ages have been molested and are repeating what's been done to them. So in a sense, because they're repeating what's been done to them, in a sense it is molestation. But I personally didn't see it as that because I didn't even understand what was going on at the time. And I didn't know, technically I wasn't really aware that it was wrong. Mm-hmm. So I didn't see it as anything wrong. I didn't see it as molestation. I just saw it as something he introduced me to. And because I would say I admired him and I trusted in him, I just did it because he was doing it. And I didn't really understand what I was doing. I just followed.
At age 4, and the person being 5 of the same sex that you are.
Correct.
That maybe that's one of the reasons why you kind of looked at it as being molested, because I guess most young boys at 4 years old probably got their first kiss from a girl.
Right. Well, I'll put it this way: when I mentioned it to someone, it was told to me that it was considered molestation. Even when going through the trials, as to me at the time, 2 children having sex, I don't consider molestation. But because I know they're repeating what was done to them,
sure,
so to say,
mm-hmm.
because chances are they are being molested and they're not repeating it. in a sense, it is molestation.
Or could it be considered?
But I would say, I don't.
Experimental. They experiment
Yeah.
on each other.
Yeah.
And perhaps, like you said, that you, someplace in the book, you said that you enjoyed it.
Very much. That's the reason why. That was one of the reasons why I kept it a secret. Because once I came to the conclusion that it was wrong, and that it was something we should not be doing, by then I already had come to liking it. So it wasn't, of course, shame and guilt came with it, but
Sure.
in all honesty, I didn't want to tell because I felt like if someone knew, it would end, and at that time I just did not want it to end.
Well, you said on page 3 of your book, you said, I quickly learned the best way to do wrong without anyone knowing was to hide it. We continued for years pleasuring each other through sexual contact. It was what I wanted for when I saw him. We always made promises that we would stop, but we continued. My knowledge was conditioned to know it was wrong, but the knowledge of pleasure I felt overpowered. And did you know it was wrong at 4 years old?
No.
What age was you growing into knowing that it was wrong?
I'd say around 7 or 8 is when I got into the knowledge, and I can't recall. I think the person's brother called us.
Caught
Yeah,
you guys, okay.
and told us we weren't supposed to be doing that.
Was he an older brother?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So
And
what
that's-
year, what age were you when you guys got caught? What act were you performing at that time that y'all got actually caught?
I'm not. It had to be intercourse. It was intercourse.
And so was it actually like? And what age you say this was?
Had been 7,
7.
8, around that age, yes.
Okay. And were you guys butt naked at the time?
Yes.
Okay. There wasn't penetration at that young age?
Yes.
At 7?
That's actually how we started. That was the first thing he introduced me to.
Was actual so you said at 5 years old he was penetrating?
Yes.
Was he penetrating you, or were you penetrating him?
He was penetrating me.
So you never turned the table around?
After some time, yes.
Okay, so how did that balance out?
It was just he did it to me, I did it to him, and then we were done. I mean, it wasn't...
Because at that age, you know, you don't have the thing of like, you're not gonna, no sperm is not gonna come from you at that age. You know, I mean, it's just a desire.
Right.
Okay. So it's not going to be like you working your way up for this big splash, if you will.
Yeah, I didn't have knowledge of any of that. I didn't have knowledge of sex and what it meant and what it's basically used for, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, I just followed basically what I was taught. And like I said, it wasn't until now that I realized chances are he was being molested, chances are by an older person.
Right. That taught him a whole lot of things.
Yeah, who I don't know because I haven't really been able to talk to him about this issue, so I don't know where he learned this from.
Sure.
And yeah.
So at the age of 7, when you guys were caught butt naked, was there kissing at that time too?
No.
It was never kissing at that time. It wasn't. It was just basically physical contact. Okay. So when the brother caught you, what was the next thing? What would happen after that?
It was just basically, it's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. But at that moment, we just realized if we're going to do it, we can't get caught.
Sure.
And it just continued.
So yeah,
that's all it was.
Other.
But then it was at that moment that every time we, once, we did whatever we were going to do, it was like, okay, we can't do this anymore. Today's the last day. But then we would, every time we meet, we would do it again.
And y'all would see each other again, and y'all would engage again. So after that right there, at that time at 7 years old, you recognize an older brother, his older brother told you, listen, this is deeply wrong. Shouldn't do this. Was there any explanation why you shouldn't do it, or was just that it was wrong?
I don't remember an explanation.
Just don't do
know,
this.
Yeah, don't do that.
So you guys basically run apart from each other at that moment. But then when you got back together, now both of you are clear. You're 7, he's 8. You recognize then that it was, y'all knew it was wrong. What happened after that?
It just continued. And I think, like I said, whatever we were doing, once we were finished, we did feel, I know I felt the guilt and I felt the shame. And like I said, we would always agree never to do it again, and it was always, you feeling bad because now you know you've done something wrong. But like I said, the memory of the pleasure is what allowed us to continue. Because I think, like I said, the memory of the pleasure is what basically overpowered the knowledge of how wrong it is.
Let me ask you this right here. When you were a child at 6, 7, 8, no one had really explained what sex was to you.
No.
You didn't come through that.
No.
Sexual.
Not at that age, no. I think, like I said, it started at 4, so I don't know anyone who's going to explain it to a 4-year-old.
Right.
So I didn't really know that it was considered sex until, honestly, I would say maybe 17, 18 is when I really got the picture of what I was doing.
Well, what age was you when someone explained to you what sex was? I
remember the first time, actually, as crazy as it sounds, I actually had, in 5th grade, I remember having sex education, but...
It started in 5th grade?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't so much sex education, it was body parts, more so. Like, they separated the girls from the boys, and basically they taught us what, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure they taught us what sperm is and what it does and wet dreams and, what the reproduction system is, puberty, what happens to puberty, that kind of stuff.
In health class.
Right. The only thing is, the one thing I do remember is the teacher, they weren't, I guess, health education teachers, they were the regular teachers.
Sure.
And the teacher we had was clearly uncomfortable teaching it. And I think through his uncomfort, I didn't really pay attention to it. Because I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like if he's uncomfortable with it, then how can I be comfortable with learning this?
Sure.
So I didn't really pay attention to it. I mean, honestly, I don't remember what I learned in that class. I just remember them separating us. And I remember coming back to my classroom.
When you say them separating us, what do you mean?
Well, the teacher separated
the boys from the girls?
Yeah, the female teachers taught the girls, and we had the one male teacher teaching the boys. And the one thing I do remember is when we returned, it seemed like the girls actually learned something. Like the way they were reacting with each other about what they learned, and it just seemed like they got something out of it. And I kind of was like, okay, I don't know what that was. And so that was that. And then I remember, because in 5th grade, I really don't understand how and why, but I didn't know what a virgin was.
Okay.
I heard the name before.
Sure.
And as stupid as it may sound, I thought it meant a virgin was someone who had multiple, boyfriends or girlfriends.
Okay.
Why, I don't know.
All right.
I don't remember why. I'm pretty sure I learned that in school from the kids. And I don't know where that definition came from.
Well, there's many little
I don't know where the definition
mythical
came
things
from,
that we learn from the kid.
But that's what I thought.
Growing up, if it's not really explained.
I remember mentioning it around my sister and my mother. And my mother asked me, did I know what it was? And I explained it to her. And my sister left, and my mother then explained to me what a virgin was and what sex was.
Oh,
and that was like
okay.
5th, 6th grade. That was my.
But
even then, I can say I don't remember really catching on to it, comprehending.
Sure.
And then freshman year, of course, we had the real sexual education. And again, because...
Let's take one break right now.
Sure.